What's going on, faithful? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Red and Gold Standard podcast. My name is Zach Hernandez, and this evening I'll be joined by my co-host Matt Llewellyn and our guy Mike Andrews. Mike's not here quite yet, but he'll be here soon. Matt, how you doing this Friday evening?
I'm doing pretty good, Zach. I've had a couple days off. It's been nice to just relax and not do a bunch of stuff, but watch people go crazy on Twitter about the 49ers in all facets of the game. So let's jump right into it.
Exactly. It's been a crazy week. We didn't do a show last week, 4th of July. Both of us were pretty busy, but we're glad to be back. And guys, before we jump into things, we got a great show planned for you this evening. Head over to youtube.com/49ers Hive. Join from there so we can see and interact with your comments. We cannot see them from Twitter, so we're not ignoring you if you're commenting on Twitter. We just can't see it. Thank you, everybody, for already tuning in. Hit like, hit subscribe while you're here. We got a lot to get into. We're going to play a game of yes or no. I know that's kind of been a viewer favorite towards the end. So first things first, Matt. Trey Lance reportedly is suffering from arm fatigue. Should I play the clip?
Yeah, play the clip.
All right. So I'm going to pull this up. Akash posted this. Is from the Colin Cowherd video with Mike Silver. Let me share the screen real quick. This was something that we've kind of been hearing for a little bit, but I don't understand where it came from. So I'm just going to play the clip and I'll shut up so you guys can see what we're talking about.
Is that he's not his delivery is they're kind of rebuilding it. He gets arm fatigue. It's not an easy throw. He needs days off, and they're worried about his. Yep, and they're and they're worried about his accuracy. You and I are hearing the same things because you and I know. Andy Reid moved off Alex Smith, who got into the playoffs because they were at practice. They saw Mahomes, right? Yeah. By the way, Buffalo, even though Josh Allen struggled first year, was all in because they were at practice.
And I want to caution fans here. What happened with Josh Allen is as far as I know, such an anomaly that it is a once in forever thing.
What I'm hearing is that.
Yeah, so that's basically the clip that turned into a bunch. And go ahead, I'll let you get your thoughts on this. What is this? Is this a thing?
I kind of want to. I'm not going to get too deep into it. I kind of want to wait for Mike. I know everybody's waiting for me to rant.
Okay.
It's gonna. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about something else? And we'll wait for Mike. Will be here in about 10 minutes.
I'll touch on it.
Okay. I can go first if you want.
Yeah. I just want to touch on it briefly. I think we're at the point where things are slow. I'll get into the mechanics of it later, but things are slow. I think this is just the, bare minimum, like surface level journalism that you could do. And I think that's kind of what's going on here, but let me get your thoughts before I jump into this.
I agree. And look, Mike Silver has been around the NFL for a long time. And clearly he has some connections places, but I'm going to call BS on this one because Trey Lance, he's a younger kid. It's not like he's mid-30s and oh my God, he threw his arm out. We got to really let that arm rest and heal up. He's young. And I don't know if that's a thing medically speaking, but I'll wait for you to get into that when you get into it later. But I just really do think that it's beginning of July. People are kind of fishing for things. And if the clip goes on, it kind of goes into Colin Cowherd's reasoning for believing Mike Silver that because he has these other sources, what Colin feels correct, he therefore must also have this source correct. And he also said, and it's also what I'm hearing as well. We saw plenty of reporters that we respect and all know come out and immediately refute it, saying that, their source says that it's BS. But it really is weird how we talked about this a few weeks ago. There seems to be this kind of anti-Trey Lance narrative going around the NFL circles to where he's not ready. The 49ers are scared. Oh, they might keep Jimmy. So I think this is kind of just feeding into that. Is that kind of the same thoughts you're having? And again, you don't have to get into it too much.
It's tough. It's tough. I think that there's just, again, these national level guys are just surface level with these things. They're not attached to the team like a lot of the beat writers are. They're not as well connected. I just, the team doesn't leak. So what's the source? The only source that I could think of where it came out was Ryan Harris said something about what did he say? He didn't say arm fatigue. He said they were worried about his arm fitness. And this is just a spin on the same thing. So it's a little weird. And, I think the low hanging fruit, right, is that like, hey, Trey Lance put pipe to Colin Cowherd's daughter and now he like hates the kid or whatever. That's the low hanging fruit. I just don't think that at this stage in Cowherd's career, he does a lot of his own digging. I think he calls people that he knows and says, what do you think about this? And they tell him and he goes, oh, okay, cool. That's what I thought. So that's what I'm going to say. He's been wrong about a lot of things. Colin Cowherd is more of an entertainer. And he's going to say things like that. I guess my problem is more with Silver, who will block you at the drop of a hat if you disagree with him, right? And who, again, doesn't name any sources and really said some things in that statement that kind of like contradicted himself. Like when he said, oh, Jimmy does this, and this elite. I'm like, he does nothing elite. Like nothing. His release, like the speed of his release, his throwing motion is perhaps the only thing that's elite about him. Everything else is just kind of mid. So I don't know. It's a weird situation. I got a lot. I really got a lot to like.
Yeah.
Let it build.
Mike should be here within a few minutes. But it is really interesting because he did tweet that out, that Jimmy Garoppolo is elite. I forget what random things he kind of specified he's elite as. And Joey from our team, Arredondo, tweeted it. And I said, if Jimmy Garoppolo is elite, what does that make Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers? Because they must be out of this world. I think Joey said they're Super Saiyan, which they would have to be if Jimmy Garoppolo is elite at anything at the quarterback position. It really is a trip. I don't understand where it's coming from, but I think it does play into what you talked about where the 49ers, not the 49ers, these beat writers are kind of just grasping at straws, and they probably know the 49ers aren't necessarily going to come out and say, that's not true. Hey, he doesn't suffer from that. So they probably feel that maybe they can get away with stretching the truth a little bit.
Yeah, there's been a lot of stretching of the truth lately. It's been really, really weird to see them. And it could just like, I think it's just to set, I don't know if it's to like set up an interesting comeback story because everybody loves a comeback story, but the way that they just fluctuate and not only fluctuate, but have no accountability for the past things that they said. Like us on Twitter, we'll hold people's feet to the fire and we'll say, hey, you said this. It didn't turn out that way. But is Cowherd going to go on his show if Trey Lance blows up and be like, I was wrong about Trey Lance? Probably not. Probably not. Or if he does, he'll say it in passing during one of his points or whatever. But it's not going to be anything like, I was wrong and here's why. Oops, my bad, this and this and that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, it just took him until, during the same podcast, when they were talking about the Baker Mayfield trade, about how he finally admitted after 4 years that he was wrong about Sam Darnold being a good quarterback. And he had to buttress that with Baker Mayfield criticism on either side, So even when he admits that he's wrong, he gives the caveat. He goes, oh, I was wrong here, but I was right here and I was right here. So there's no accountability. It's not like Colin Cowherd wants a ton of access to, 49ers players. I don't know. Let's ask Mike what he thinks. I think Mike is here.
How you doing?
Yo, what's going on, fellas? I'm sorry, man. I was trying so hard to get here. It started pouring. Then I got behind this a-hole how many minutes in already? I got behind this jerk on the road, right? And it's pouring, but everyone drives like there's cats on the street, like they don't want to run him over. So I go to get over. He speeds up as I speed up, and then when he gets next to the car that I pull up on, he does the same speed, and so I get back behind him, and then he starts hitting the brakes. I said, "Okay, well then get hit, motherfucker," and I just kept rolling up on him until I'm not gonna say what happened because he might report it. So all right, what's the question? I'm sorry, you guys said ask Mike his opinion. I'm so sorry.
We're discussing Trey Lance and these weird reports that he's suffering from arm fatigue.
Yes.
Matt and I are basically saying that we feel that these reports are full of shit and that they're kind of grasping at straws here. What's your take on it?
Yeah, so I do think it's nonsense, but I also think it's old. And if that's the case, I think it could have been true. I don't know if that makes any sense. Trey Lance went a long time without actually playing football, right? The year he got drafted, he didn't play that whole year. It was a one game, right? Like that one game. Then you get ready for the combine, and then you step in, and it's like, all right, I'm ready to play football, and you're going crazy in training camp, and you're throwing, and you're throwing, and you're throwing. And all we've heard this entire offseason is he's throwing. The season was over, he stayed behind. He did a little throwing camp. Then he went back out here for the practices. And then when practice was over, he was still throwing, right? I think arm fatigue might maybe be expected. If fatigue is just, hey, my arm is sore. I don't know about you guys, but I play backyard football a lot. And when I haven't thrown in a long time and I go out there and I do 30, 40 passes the next 2-3 days, yeah, my arm is a rubber band. So is he going through that? Maybe. But I also don't buy it. I said all that to say I think they're all full of shit. I don't think that's happening at all. I actually watched the Colin Cowherd podcast that had him and Mike Silver on it, and they were like, "Oh, I don't know if you're hearing the same thing that I'm hearing." He's like, "Yeah, I heard that too." And then it's like, "Well, just so you guys know, we're not making anything up. I also am gonna like, yeah, I don't buy it. Sorry."
That was a good Mike Silver impression, bro. That was a good
And now I'm blocked. That's a better Mike Silver impression because that's all he does.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
Go ahead, Matt. I got the graphic ready.
Here's what I'll say, and just to push back on you, Mike, a little bit. If what we hear about Trey Lance from everybody is true, right? The dude is a gym rat and a workaholic. And so for me, I don't think it mattered whether they were playing games or not. I don't believe for 1 second that Trey Lance did not pick up a football from the time he last played at North Dakota State to the combine. I simply do not believe that. I think he was still working out. He was still doing all this stuff because it'd be pretty irresponsible as a quarterback, right? To not work on anything just because you have the season off. Of course, you're going to do your workouts like any true professional will. And from all reports, I mean, we've seen it, right? Trey Lance stays behind to learn more stuff. Trey Lance gets his receivers together to work out in the offseason. Trey Lance goes and works with quarterback guru to try to get his stuff fixed. After North Dakota State decided after that one game that they were not going to play anymore, and he decided that he was going to enter the NFL draft, which was the mind was made up early on that, he doesn't have to worry about college eligibility. If that was me, I'd be like, look, we're not playing the season, so I'm immediately going to go out and I'm going to start working with these guys to get ready for the draft. I got 9 months to get ready for the combine, for pro days, for the draft. So for me, I don't think it was so much arm fatigue. What I think it was there was some issues with the finger and the broken finger. And I think that hampered him. And maybe that looks like something like arm fatigue. Maybe the ball was fluttering a little bit more than it normally would because he can't spin it as well. But you got a 20, I mean, at the time, 20, now 21, 22-year-old kid. Dude, I remember when I was 22 years old. All right, I could run all day and not get tired, right? My parents had to drag me back inside the house. I played basketball for like 8 hours on end, didn't get tired, right? Or if I did, it's like, give me a 5-minute breather and I'm going back out there. When I was 20, nothing could stop me. And like, so for me, it doesn't hold true. Just look at baseball. I mean, look at starting pitchers, right? They throw between, 70, 80, 90, 100 pitches per start. They do bullpens a couple days after their start and in between to kind of work on things. And then they go back out there. They make 30, 40 starts a year. So you're looking at 3,000 to 4,000 pitches with a much more violent and full body motion than you will throwing a football, and they don't get arm fatigue. They might blow out their elbow. That's an entirely different thing because they throw breaking balls, which is really hard. You're changing your arm slot and your arm angle and the wrist action, which puts pressure on different body parts, whatever. But you mean to tell me that Trey Lance and some idiot, I don't know who it was, on Twitter said that, oh yeah, don't you see the little hitch in his throwing motion where he like bounces his shoulder back up? That's horseshit, man. I don't want to hear that. You got Mike Silver, who can't keep a fucking job anywhere. He worked at SI for this long. He worked at NFL Network for this long. He worked at Bally Sports for this long. And now he's part of The Volume. Like, your career is heading downhill, dude. They're looking at the same reports that came out earlier from that has-been wannabe washout Ryan Harris, who just made that shit up, pulled it out of his ass, and decided, I'm going to say something stupid today. And he put it out on Twitter with no sourcing whatsoever. Why do we have to go through this every year? This team does not leak. Where is he getting this information? Because the players all say, Fred Warner's not a liar. I don't think Fred Warner needs to go out and unnecessarily pump people up. He said Trey Lance shredded us in practice last year. You got George Kittle saying that dude wows us. You know, we have the leaked video from the practices where he's making a couple of ridiculous throws that don't look like arm fatigue to me. This is just so that people can make up a narrative and have something to do, and they can take their fingers out of their ass and type something on a keyboard for once and try to get some clout. They're clout chasing. They're trying to make money off this kid and hoping that he fails because it's what 49er fans don't want. Nobody in the fan base other than the hardcore Jimmy stans want Trey Lance to fail. So when you come out here and you just badmouth Trey Lance, what you're doing is you're creating controversy. You're creating clicks. That's all this is, you know. One of the guys that does a lot of Dr. Narav, he writes a lot about players for the Warriors, for the Giants, whatever. He's just like, this is like I've never heard of this before. And it's true. Like I brought up with the baseball players, you never hear of arm fatigue in baseball, right? Like very rarely, right? And it's usually guys that are coming back from like a Tommy John or something, and they haven't been throwing. They haven't been allowed to throw in a year and a half. That's when you get secondary injuries. You know, you'll get a strained tricep or like your bicep is hurting or whatever. Football, it's unheard of. I've literally never heard of somebody saying, I got arm fatigue in football. It's not even near enough volume. It's preposterous. It's preposterous. And it's
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'd even be willing to bet that there's more touch passes than like zip passes in football. You know what I mean? They don't throw the ball 50 plus yards down the field 8 times a game. That's not that's not what they do.
Right. So well, and even if you do throw the ball down the field 50 yards or whatever, that go route is not the hardest you're going to throw the football. The hardest you're going to throw the football is on the 15-yard out because you got to get that shit to the sideline.
Exactly.
And that's such a subset of throws. I mean, listen, just watch the OTAs. Watch what the 49ers are doing. We know what they do in camp. They're not going super hardcore. They're not asking them to do an inordinate amount of shit, right? Most of it's like, oh, let's do this footwork drill, and then we're going to throw it to the wide receiver coach who's like 8 yards away. It's a soft little pass, no worries. Or the receivers are running routes, and you're just kind of like going through the motions. You're running at like half speed or whatever. The NFL doesn't do a lot full speed anymore. It's not conducive to, you know, injury and everything like that with players outside of the quarterback position. So for these two jokers to get on TV, and you know, I'm a fan of Cowherd because you know he's not afraid to speak his mind, but this is just the bare minimum, laziest, surface level, ass backwards journalism that you could try to do. And Mike Silver should be ashamed of himself. And you know, he can go on a block party if he wants to, but the fact of the matter is they have no sourcing. The only person I've heard say this was Ryan Harris, and he had no sourcing. Meanwhile, you got all the players defending Trey Lance. You have people like RG3 saying, dude, Trey Lance as a physical talent is better than Jimmy Garoppolo right now. You got a ton of people that want to back this kid. You just got a couple of jokers who just want to go counterculture to the narrative and make things up. It's insane to me. It's insane. And it's, it's similar. And I'm sure we're going to get into the Jimmy Garoppolo to Tampa Bay rumors. People just like to make shit up. And it's disappointing, and they should be ashamed of themselves. And, it's ridiculous.
Had to play it. It had been a while. So
I'll say this one last thing. The only people that have arm fatigue are people like Colin Cowherd and certain members on Twitter and people like Dan Cilio and all these jokers that make stuff up. They got arm motion from patting themselves on their fucking back because they think they're doing something good. All right, we can
this
move on.
comment from Joey. That's hilarious. So Dr. Narav Pandya, fantastic friend of the show, replied to this clip, and he said this is what Matt was referring to. I think Mike, you referred to as well. In general, arm fatigue isn't a concept that is typically used with quarterbacks, unlike pitchers, given the velocity and throwing motion. Also, having to take several days off would be a drastic change in throwing motion. Would be interested to hear more about this. AKA, this sounds like shit.
Right. Well, and here's the other thing too. Anyone who works out regularly knows if you do the same thing every day, right? What happens in the gym? It gets really easy to do because your body adapts to become the most efficient that it can be at that activity. So to say that he just has this arm fatigue, that's crazy talk. If he was deconditioned, he might have arm fatigue at the beginning, but repetition is what's going to bring that back. And he wouldn't be having it at this point, right? Like maybe if he wasn't throwing a lot because of the broken finger after a month, then I could see, probably the first couple days he went out there and let it rip, it was probably like, okay, my arm was a little sore after throwing all day because I haven't thrown in a month because I had a broken finger. That to me makes sense, right? But it's going to be a transient thing. It's not going to be something that sticks around. And I think this is one of those things. I think Croc said it earlier, that it's probably shit from last year that people are just recycling through because they're bored.
Yeah. What is that over your shoulder, Matt? Is that like a old school game controller? What is that on the table behind?
This right here?
Yeah.
So I compete at fighting games, particularly Street Fighter, and it's an arcade stick.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. If you want to get worked in Tekken, let me know. Okay.
Oh shit. I'm trash at the 3D fighters, brother.
Yes. All right. Cool.
So
I just saw it over. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
No, you're
Ben
good,
Albright, very respected reporter, sourced at the very least, if you don't like him, says this was called complete bullshit to me from a member of the staff. So, and Ted Nguyen as well, who's also a respected reporter for The Athletic, asked a member of the 49ers coaching staff about Trey Lance, quote, arm fatigue. His response, quote, I have never heard anything about that a day in my life.
You should bring up my reply to somebody who was like, look at the motion, blah, 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 blah. I think I'm on there.
In here?
Yeah. I'm in there somewhere. Just go to my tweets and replies. There you go. No. Yeah, there you go. Go up. Look at that. You're telling me that Trey Lance has arm fatigue when pitchers throw like that. That's Tyler Rogers. He pitches like that right now.
Oh, this looks like some shit out of what was the movie where the shorty was crawling on the ceiling and stuff? The old back in the day,
Exorcist.
Yes. Oh my god.
And then he tweets me Tim Lincecum like that means anything.
Talk about being bent out of
Other
shape.
than
Tim Lincecum had back issues, not arm issues.
That's
And
really
Tim
weird.
Lincecum was like 5'8", 150 pounds.
It looks like this looks like he I don't know if you guys watch Stranger Things, but looks like he just got taken out
No
by
spoilers.
Vecna.
No spoilers. I'm not all the way through that.
I'm not
shit.
spoiling anything. Just when he kills people, their bones snap. That's what it looks like is going on here. All right. So I think we're all in agreement where we feel this report is total bullshit. Right?
arm fatigue, and that dude's elbow looks like it's about to like tear his own arm off its socket.
Yeah. And yeah, if you guys even question Mike Silver, get ready for that block. The guy blocks more than Tim Kawakami. So we're going to get on to our next topic. We all agree this is BS. We saw a trade with the quarterbacks this week, starting quarterback in Cleveland, but it wasn't one going there. It was one leaving. Baker Mayfield was traded to the Carolina Panthers, and the compensation was ridiculously low, in my opinion. A 2024 conditional, was it fifth round pick? Fifth round pick, and Cleveland had to pay something like $8 million of Baker Mayfield's salary. $10 million. It just gets worse. It just gets worse.
10.5, yeah.
So what does this mean?
$10.5 million to get Baker Mayfield off their team and to buy a 5th round draft pick.
What does this mean for Jimmy Garoppolo, Matt?
No, wait. Let Mike respond real quick.
Go ahead, Mike.
No. I didn't realize that was a quote, so I'll shut up. Go ahead, Matt.
Okay. It doesn't mean shit. It means the 49ers aren't going to get nothing for him. They're going to have to cut him. They're going to have to cut him.
So it kind of does mean something.
Or they're going to have to take like a 6th. Who's going to trade for him now?
I think Cleveland still might.
Cleveland is on the hook for $43 million for Deshaun Watson's signing bonus, $10.5 million for Baker Mayfield. They're not going to take the money for Jimmy Garoppolo.
That signing bonus is spread out over the length of the contract, though. So don't forget. Now they do have that prorated portion of it.
Okay.
This year.
So they got the prorated portion, but that's still $15 million. Let's just say it's $5 million, right? Let's just say, what's the length of the deal? 5 years?
Honestly, I don't remember the deal. That's why I was going to ask you if you knew what it was. I think
it's 5 years. I think it was 5-2-30. So let's just say that it's 5 years. That's
do we know what the signing bonus was? It was only $40 million.
I think it was 43.
Okay. So yeah. So let's go with $8 million.
So let's go with 5 years. So that's $9 million just for the bonus, the initial signing bonus, and then 10.5. That's $20 million, or almost $20 million for no quarterbacks.
Right.
For 0 quarterbacks. And then you're going to take Jimmy Garoppolo. Why? Why would you trade for Jimmy Garoppolo's contract when you can just force the 49ers' hand? Cut him. We dare you.
I think that's where we differ on this. I was with you when you said it doesn't mean shit for Jimmy, but then you were like, we can't get anything for Jimmy now. I disagree. I think the reason why it was only a 5th is because Cleveland had to eat so much of that contract. So not only did they eat so much of the contract, Mayfield also restructured his contract and converted like 3.5 to like some roster bonus or something like that as well. So it was really about making cap space for Carolina to bring him on. And so if we're just going to do a straight up trade, his value is higher. But because we're eating so much of this cap and restructuring this deal, it's less now because we're doing we're buying this pick in essence is what it is. And because we took so much, that's why it's so low. Does that make sense to you? Because if you were just going to give him something, right? Hey, I want Baker Mayfield. All right, well, we'll take a 2nd for him. We believe he's going to be your starter. We'll take a 2nd for him. Well, we need you guys to take some of his contract because we already have Sam Darnold here who is getting $18 million guaranteed. All right, so then we'll take on $5 million of his contract.
It's not because of that. It's because nobody wants to help Cleveland out because of the full guarantee.
Oh, you don't think that Sam Darnold, because this is Sam Darnold's 5th-year option year, right?
Sure, but Carolina's full of nobodies. They got cap space. It doesn't even matter.
Oh, I didn't know what.
Because think about it. Like, what's 1 year? If you're carrying both of them for 1 year and trying to get the best quarterback, they're both going to be on their 5th year, which means they're both free agents after the season. All of that comes off the books. Right. So it's not like a long-term deficit to just take on Baker Mayfield's whole contract. But the fact of the matter is, word on the street is that all of the owners are pissed at Cleveland for doing the fully guaranteed contract because it sets them up for future quarterback negotiations where they're like, what the fuck, guys? Like,
yeah,
can we get fully guaranteed too? Like, we didn't go out and
that makes sense.
Visit a bunch of masseuses, right? And so they had to eat that. But I'm saying, like, so Deshaun Watson's cap number is 10 million this year. It's his 1.8 million like roster spot, right? And it's like 8.9 for his roster, his prorated bonus or whatever. So it's 10 million. You're paying 10. So that's $20 million for no quarterbacking. They have Jacoby Brissett in there. I don't know what his contract is, but now you're pushing what, 25 million, 26 million. And now you're going to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, which once you trade for him, like the 49ers aren't going to eat any money. They don't have to. They can just cut him. Right? Like you can't ask the 49ers to take money. Is Jimmy going to extend his contract? No, because as soon as Deshaun Watson comes back, Jimmy Garoppolo becomes extremely expendable.
Right.
So
He's not going to extend. He's not going to extend.
There's no incentive for Jimmy Garoppolo to do anything with his contract to go to Cleveland, right? I think Jimmy Garoppolo would rather get cut and take his chances on going to a team and a situation on his terms for the first time in his career. And yeah, he'd probably be giving up some money, but he would put himself in the best spot to, maybe earn a starting job. Maybe go somewhere like Atlanta, and when Marcus Mariota starts doing the Marcus Mariota thing, maybe they look at Jimmy Garoppolo and go, hey, maybe he goes to Indianapolis because he knows Matt Ryan only has like another year, right? There are different, maybe he goes to Washington. Carson Wentz always does something stupid. There are options for him to just bide his time, sit behind something. Maybe he goes to Seattle. He could start day one in Seattle. I think that's what's holding the 49ers back ultimately from just releasing him right now, even though that wouldn't bother me. I'm not particularly scared of Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
Same.
I think that we as fans and people in the media pump up Jimmy's value, but the league has already told you what Jimmy Garoppolo's value is, right? That nobody actually wants him. Right? Did anybody believe that? Remember that report that came out that John Lynch said, "Oh, we had multiple second-round picks on the table from different teams." That's bullshit, dude. That's a bald-faced lie from John Lynch. That was never on the table.
No,
and
Lynch came out and said that never happened.
Just makes it that much worse.
Lynch came out and denied that too. He said that never happened. I never had 2 second-round picks.
And that's fair. But we all know where Jimmy actually stands, and I think that in the end, once he can pass a physical, they're going to cut him.
Go ahead, Mike.
I just don't know if it's worth cutting him because there's too much time between when you have to cut him versus actually cutting him. And I'm firm on that. I just don't see the value in he's going to pass this physical and start throwing in 2 weeks. Why are we cutting him now when there's so much time for another quarterback somewhere?
Well, okay. Well, what I will say is they will cut him by week 1. He'll be like the last group of cutdowns.
That I agree with. That I agree with. Yes, sir.
We're all in agreement there.
He's not going to make this 53-man roster unless they rework his deal. I think I'm the only person in the whole 49ers fan base that believes that having Jimmy in the locker room will not be a distraction.
I think it'll be a distraction.
I think it will.
I think Jimmy wants out. I think Trey wants to control the room, and I think that you're putting undue stress on people to pick a side.
If Jimmy accepts a backup role and a new contract, doesn't that tell you that he doesn't want out?
But we don't know that he'd accept that.
Right. I'm saying if he were to, that's the third option that no one wants to discuss.
This team is not, but Jimmy has not been in lockstep with the team for a long time. Look at how many times he's come out and said, "Oh man, this calf, it's really, really bad. I think I probably tore my Achilles." And the team's like, "It's a calf strain, bro. You'll be fine." Right. The minute the season ended, he's like, "Man, I really like these guys. It's going to be hard to leave, but it's a business." Like he said his goodbyes already. He's ready to go.
That was what was so funny is they were like, "Hey, Jimmy, how's it going today?" He's like, "Hey, I just wanted to say thank you, everybody, for everything. And it's been nice knowing you." And they're like, "We just want to know how you're doing, Jimmy." And he's like, "Bye. See you, faithful. I'm already. I got my shit packed. I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully, I don't see you too soon." That's basically what it was like. I mean, it was an end of the year press conference, and he said his goodbyes. Yeah. So I think we know where his mind is.
Yeah, and they were like, "What are you going to do in the offseason?" He's like, "Leave George Kittle on red once again."
Even down to that girl, what's her name, Rita, that's doing the draw Jimmy until his interview when they asked him about it. He was like, "Hopefully you have to. We'll see what happens." But you can tell he wanted to say, "Hopefully you won't have to draw too many more of those." You know what? It's right there. And by the way, I still think there's a possibility the 49ers have a trade worked out already once he passes a physical. That's not outside the realm of possibility, man.
It's not, but I think that this paltry compensation for Baker just makes it worse. By the way, it makes Washington look really stupid for trading for Carson Wentz for what they paid for him.
That's what I was gonna say. Yes, Washington's just that's Washington. But
They're aggressive.
the reason why you can get more for Jimmy is because any team that he goes to will have to 100% have to rework his deal. So the Niners can't eat anything because they're not eating part of his new deal that he works out with that team. You understand what I'm saying? So Baker's contract was in trade, and that was fully guaranteed because it's a 5th-year option. That's why Cleveland kind of had to eat some of that. With Jimmy here, not a penny is guaranteed. So you can't ask the Niners to eat any of non-guaranteed money. You have to work out a new contract with this guy, and his agent's not going to let him sign anywhere without guaranteed money.
Like I said, the eating of the money means nothing because it's coming off the books after this year. That is what it is. The situation in Cleveland with Baker was so untenable that they were backed into a corner. And I think that the situation is similar with the 49ers. There are guys that are ride or die for Jimmy Garoppolo. And it doesn't matter if Jimmy rolls over like a dog and shows his belly. They're still going to be ride or die for Jimmy. And it's going to create a distraction.
Debo.
No, it's not Debo. Yo,
hey, we can talk about
49ers
Debo because Debo looked like he only ride or die for Taco Bell right now.
Yo, when I said I thought he looked big in a picture, they said it was because he was wearing white, and I never said anything else about it again. But
what happened?
The first picture we saw of him on the sidelines when he actually went to camp, right, not working out with the teams, I was like, yo, he looks huge. They're like, shut up, he's wearing white. White makes everybody look bigger. And I was like, all right, cool. I just shut up. I didn't say another word.
Nope.
Right.
I mean, dude, when the 49ers asked dude's college coach, hey, how's Debo Samuel? And he's like, man, what you see is what you get. He's going to be a great person. Got to keep up on him about his weight in the offseason.
Yeah.
His college coach said that.
Yeah.
We all know that Debo Samuel like to get a little loose in the offseason, particularly in this offseason where he's been disgruntled.
Mm-hmm.
He's pulling a James Harden.
Sorry.
I was just say he's pulling a James Harden. James Harden
kinda
wanted that
looked like
trade.
James Harden.
Jeez, that was bad. That was rough.
Better be careful. He's going to look like Zion Williamson in a second.
Well, I want to backtrack a little bit, and I want to give this to you
Sure.
guys, right? Why do you guys think that players, specifically offensive players, like are going to go to bat for Jimmy if he's in this locker room? We have literally seen every single pass catcher throw his hands up in frustration from Jimmy Garoppolo. Every single one of them. I don't understand. It's like we forget how frustrated they were with Jimmy. It's like we forget why we traded up in the first place to bring another quarterback in. They're not going to be pounding the table saying, give me Jimmy, Trade through an interception. They're going to say, hey, Jimmy did that also. Like, let's use your ability and keep pushing.
I guess. I just see some guys who got their bag, some guys that want to get the bag. Like Debo knows, hey, Jimmy ain't going to throw it downfield to all these speedsters, man. He's just going to hit me. He's going to give me the ball underneath, and then I can do my work. And that helps my numbers and helps me get paid, right? People like Trent Williams, he's like, I don't give a fuck who I'm blocking for. Are we making the playoffs or not? Because I was stuck in Washington. We didn't do dick for a decade, right? He's like, I come to San Francisco, and the year that Jimmy's healthy, we go to the NFC Championship game. Like, that's all he knows, right? I got paid, yes. And we're going to the NFC Championship game. That's good enough for me. You got dudes like Fred Warner, like the people on this team at this point, including like the last two bulky holdouts, Jimmy Ward and Eric Armstead, they've only seen success when Jimmy Garoppolo was on the field. Every other year when he's not on the field, the team has been trashed because the quarterbacks have been fucking trashed.
That's fine. And now you have a staff that says, hey, we're going to move on from that guy. That should excite you. But that comment that you just took down, and Zach, I still want to get your opinion on players riding for him or not. But this right here, see, like you can't change that type of connection. This type of connection, they're frustrated. These same players are part of the reason why they feel like the team felt like they needed to move on from Jimmy. When you are in the postseason and you go up against 3 of the top 7 scoring offenses in the NFL and you hold them to an average of 20 points a game and you get knocked out, they're all upset. They're upset at the offense, and the offense is running through Jimmy. Like,
so let me respond to this.
By the way, can I just say, hold on, I got to jump in here real quick because you bring up something with the defense, right? I got to say one more shitty thing about Mike Silver, you son of a bitch. He had the gall on that podcast to say, Jimmy Garoppolo, they probably would have gone to the Super Bowl had Jaworski caught that interception. Fuck you. How about fuck you? How about Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't do a do-si-do and fucking throw the ball right into into a defender's hand for the game losing interception. How about that?
Still hurts.
How about he play some offense? Listen, as a fan, I'm tired of Jimmy Garoppolo, but I'm just saying, like, it's hard. It's going to be hard, right? When you've looked to Jimmy for leadership in that quarterback room, and all of a sudden Jimmy's just going to sit over there twiddling his thumbs, and Trey Lance got to take the lead, right? And that's going to be hard for Trey Lance, who came up under Jimmy Garoppolo and is going to give him his vet flowers. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the vet. That's the guy that took me under his wing. Whether it wasn't through like example of play, because that would have been terrible, right? But it was, hey, this is how you be a pro. This is what we do in meetings. There's a certain level of deference and respect there, right? When you're working a job and the guy that trained you and took you under his wing and you're kind of boys now and you're good, if you get promoted over that dude, I don't care who you are, you're going to have a hard time leading that dude, right? And if there's any hesitation, that's blood in the water for everybody else to be like, I don't know, maybe Jimmy's a better leader than this guy.
So great point. Shout out to Mariah, by the way. She's coming up on a year for her show. Just wanted to say that real quick before I move on. So if let's say you're a gambler, right? And you have a ritual that's not working, you tweak a couple of things. Maybe you get a pair of lucky socks. Maybe you have a certain steak from a certain restaurant before you go out, and that starts working. You start winning money. And then your wife comes along and is like, hey, there's this other restaurant, really good, we should try it out. You might be willing to go try that restaurant, even though you might feel like it's going to throw off your little routine that you got going on. But the second that you go to the casino after eating that steak and you don't win, you're like, no, I'm going to go back to the other one. And that's kind of how I feel it would be with Jimmy Garoppolo, is that the team's probably willing to transition to Trey Lance if the coaches tell them we feel this is the better decision.
Yep.
But the second Trey Lance throws a game-losing interception, has a bad game, doesn't look great, and if Jimmy's still on that roster, they're going to turn around and say, hey, I don't know how the hot dog's made, but I know that it tasted good when he was leading us. You know what I mean? Like, I know that we were winning whatever formula we had with him in the lead. We got to a championship game. We got to a Super Bowl. We were doing good, and now we're not doing that good with him. He may be more talented, but he can lead us better.
It's the Tim Tebow syndrome. It's the Tim Tebow syndrome, right? He had that one season. Yeah, he played like shit, but dang, dude, they beat Pittsburgh in the playoffs, and they went 10-6, right? And everywhere else he went after that, Tebow, every fucking time, right? They had to cut his ass from the Jets because Mark Sanchez was just like not that Mark Sanchez was good, but still, you had to hear it every time. Let's just say the 49ers get off to a similar start this year that they did last year, and they're 3-5, and Trey Lance is struggling a little bit, and Jimmy's still on that roster. You don't think that there's going to be that groundswell for, like, I don't know, fuck it, man. Maybe Jimmy can get us some wins, because that's what happened last year.
Yep. Not to mention the outcry from the fans. They were muting replies with Jim Harbaugh in them last year. They were muting on Twitter. If you replied to a 49ers tweet in the first 7 weeks of the year and you said, screw Kyle Shanahan, you should have never fired Jim Harbaugh, that tweet would be hidden. You could click see all hidden replies, and that would be there. So clearly the team was aware of this outcry, and they did something about it. They could have just left them there, but it seems like the team's either social media staff was aware of this. You're telling me that all of these Jimmy stands aren't going to be 5 times as loud and say, we told you, you never should have got rid of Jimmy. We told you should have stuck with Trey Lance. Maybe they go to home games and they boo Trey. Maybe there's all this other shit that's going on. And if Jimmy's not there, you can kind of say, fuck off. What are you going to do about it? You want to go to Nate Sudfeld? No, obviously we're going to stick with Trey Lance, but maybe, I don't know, there's a little bit of public pressure, which shouldn't be. If Kyle Shanahan were to give in with any public pressure, you should fire him. But I'm just saying, there's these
backup quarterback is already the most like glamour position in the NFL, right? It's the cushest gig. It's the one where you're like the most beloved, right? Because you're the dude on the sideline. You're the practice guy. Like, oh man, this guy gets it. Whatever. It becomes doubly so when you have a track record of winning, and when somebody else is, it's like a locker room, right? Some dude walks by, you get used to his stink. He goes away. A new dude comes in. He stinks too. And you're like, oh, God, this dude smells. Like, man, I remember my boy over there. He didn't smell this bad. And you want to go back to that old dude. He probably smelled just as bad, but you got used to the stink, right? And Jimmy Garoppolo is a known stink. Right. Trey Lance could come up smelling roses, but he could also stink.
To add on to that analogy too, maybe you knew the certain combination of deodorant and cologne to combat his stink, whereas the new guy comes along, you have no idea what to do to, Jimmy might throw that interception over the middle every now and then.
This 2 minutes out for like no
content. But you're good for 1 to 2 Jimmy balls, and maybe you feel you can still overcome that. You don't really know what can happen with Trey Lance.
You don't.
Exactly. That's the best way to put it. I feel like, Mike, you're jumping at the bit to respond here, so please do.
I'm trying not to respond because it's like 1 second we are ripping and trashing Jimmy, and then like just for the sake of argument, we're like, but the players are gonna love him and want him back because the steak didn't work at the I do understand what you guys are saying, but we are all tired of Jimmy. Like we are so tired of Jimmy that we don't think we can get anything for him on the trade market. Jimmy, as bad as we all feel about him, is a top 15 quarterback in the NFL. I know people don't want to admit that, but Jimmy is not a bad quarterback. He's not great. And even I went back and listened to Colin Cowherd from yesterday, right? On his actual show, not the podcast. And he described Jimmy perfectly. He said, Jimmy Garoppolo is the best bridge quarterback ever. He is not. He said there's three phases of quarterbacks. You have your starters, right? Like you have your franchise guys. Those are like the top guys that you build around. Then you have your bridge guys. We're looking for our franchise guy, but you can come in here and hold us down for a season or two and keep us relevant. And then you have your lifetime backups. He said Jimmy is way too good to be a lifetime backup, and he's nowhere near good enough to be a franchise guy. But he's really, really good at winning games.
I said this last week on the show. He has every opportunity to become Ryan Fitzpatrick 2.0.
Yes, that's exactly what Cowherd's point was. He is the best bridge quarterback. He said you got guys like Teddy Bridgewater, you got guys like Mitchell Trubisky. They'll be bridge quarterbacks, but they're nowhere near as good as Jimmy Garoppolo is. For whatever reason, Jimmy Garoppolo is significantly better than those guys, but he's not good enough to be a franchise quarterback. That has value in the NFL.
Sure, but the 49ers traded 3 first-round draft picks for this kid. They drove the car off the cliff. Fuck the bridge. Burn it down. You don't need it anymore.
We don't need the bridge anymore. He was here to hold us down until we found our guy. Hopefully, we got our guy. But let's now we can sell the bridge to someone else. There is a value in that bridge.
I mean, it's one of those situations where it's a lot of ifs and buts, right? Somebody has to get hurt. Somebody has to do whatever. Because where is the actual starting job that you can take day one other than Seattle or Cleveland? And if they're not willing for the right price that Kyle and John want, I mean, they're not trading him to Seattle no matter what, right? They're not trading him there. So Cleveland is really it because nowhere else is going to take him.
Jimmy Garoppolo could go to Pittsburgh right now and win that starting job.
Not after they spent the 20th pick. They paid Mitchell Trubisky and then spent the 20th pick. That's two quarterbacks on the roster.
Yes, the numbers are true, but Jimmy is better than both of those quarterbacks right now. Right?
Yeah, but they're pot committed.
That is true. That's true. But I'm talking about talent. Jimmy's better than every quarterback on the Carolina Panthers roster right now. He's better than anybody in Washington. I know what Carson Wentz is when he's healthy. Yeah,
him being better than Baker is debatable.
Jimmy, don't do that.
I agree with that.
You agree with what?
Yeah,
that it's debatable.
Last year Baker Mayfield was not healthy, but the year before his numbers were pretty decent.
He throws a better deep ball.
Good. I'm not saying that he's good. I'm saying it's debatable on which one you would rather have. That's going to depend. Honestly, to me, that comes down to it's close enough to where it's going to depend on what scheme you're running and which quarterback fits that scheme better.
Yeah.
You said Jimmy's the top 15. I think he's like borderline 20.
20 to 15.
I wish we had time. I would ask you to name me 15 better quarterbacks right now.
Okay.
I said I would. I'm not asking you to because I know you guys got other stuff you want to do. Hey, I'm here for the night. I have nothing to do. I'm ready to rock, but I'm just saying.
Brady, Rodgers, Allen, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow, I think is a better quarterback. Kyler Murray's a better quarterback. Dak Prescott's a better quarterback. Derek Carr's a better quarterback. Russell Wilson's a better quarterback.
What are you
Lamar
up to?
Jackson's a better quarterback. That's like 12 right there. Debatable when you get into like the Kirk Cousins zone. Debatable when
I'll
you
give
get
you
to
Kirk
Matt
Cousins.
Ryan at this point in their career.
I won't give
Like,
you Matt
it's
Ryan
like
right now.
there's a lot, man.
It's hard to name 15 better quarterbacks. It's really, really.
I would take Trevor Lawrence over Jimmy Garoppolo right now.
Did you? No, you
I
wouldn't.
would.
You wouldn't.
I'd take Trey Lance
taking-
over Jimmy Garoppolo right now.
you're
I'd take
taking-
Justin
no.
Fields over Jimmy
Okay,
Garoppolo
okay.
right now.
You're taking the potential of those guys over
Yes.
Jimmy Garoppolo right now. Yeah, that is not the same thing. That's not the same thing.
I mean,
Would
I
you
say
take
Kirk
Zach
Cousins
Wilson
is
over
probably
Jimmy
better than
Garoppolo?
Like Kirk Cousins, it would be a better fit for this offense. I think Kyle was right. Kirk Cousins would have been a better guy for this offense than Jimmy Garoppolo. The thing I'll say about Kirk Cousins is at least that fool stays healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's half the problem with Jimmy. You don't know if you're going to get him for like 2 games or the whole season. And it could go either way.
Yeah, that's true.
He's literally had one healthy season with the 49ers, and that was 2019.
Right.
Because even this past year, he missed games. He got injured. Davis Mills, I would take Davis Mills over Jimmy Garoppolo right now.
Davis Mills, he might be better one day. He's not better than Jimmy Garoppolo right now. Houston would be doing themselves a favor to get Jimmy Garoppolo right now.
Yeah.
Houston would.
I'm not ranking them on how they have played. I'm ranking them on who, if I was starting a team today, which quarterback would I take? And Jimmy Garoppolo is like number 20 on that list.
Are you starting that team for the most amount of wins this season, or are you starting the team for going forward in future seasons? Because those are
like going forward. For who's going to be my guy for the next 5 to 10 years?
Okay, that's
Jimmy
different.
Garoppolo is like 20 on that list.
That might be different because now you have all these new rookies and second-year guys that you're going to put ahead of him because of.
Oh, Jimmy Garoppolo better than any rookie quarterback that came out this year. This year's draft class is trash.
Yeah, that part.
They're not even bridge dudes. They're backups, dude. Yeah. All these dudes are backups.
Absolutely. I agree.
So this is the worst QB draft since the what was it? Who went super high to the Vikings?
Christian
It was like
Ponder. Oh, sorry.
Well, not Locke.
I went to the Cam Newton year.
Like Jake Locker to the Titans at 8, and you had like Taylor Heineke go super high.
What was the Titans? And was it the Jets drafted quarterbacks like 2 and 4, and that was a horrible draft class. I can't remember.
You're talking about 2011, where Cam Newton went number 1, right? And then was it? No, wait. It was Blaine Gabbert. It was Cam Newton. Then it was Blaine Gabbert, Christian Ponder. Like that was a terrible draft class for quarterbacks. But Cam Newton was the outlier.
Cam Newton was an outlier. He's one of the most disappointing first-round picks or first overall picks I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think that was 2011. I think it was 2011.
Like, I mean, look at what Cam Newton was at the beginning, like his rookie season versus where he ended up. Like his career tapered off real fast after that Super
2013.
Bowl.
That's what I'm thinking of. EJ Manuel, Geno Smith, Mike Glennon.
Yep. Oh, yeah, that's the draft. That draft was trash, and this is just like that.
Yeah. What's up, Ramelia Sports Report? Thanks for tuning in. Trey is an unknown. One thing we know is Trey has potential, just hasn't gotten a lot of playing time in 2 years. Kyle, 8-27 with Jimmy.
I think he means without Jimmy.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, man.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. You won't know until you take the plunge, right? You don't know how cold the water is until you jump your ass into the pool. And dipping your big toe in ain't gonna tell you shit about once it hits your satchel. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like you don't know how tight your little BB's gonna pucker up until you hit the water. So
all right, let's move on, kind of. Because on that note, on tightening up your the snippets from this show is going to be wild, man. All right. Report comes out from the very credible Dan Sileo that the Buccaneers are trying to work on a trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. Immediately, I saw Grant Cohn did a video within like 5 minutes of this tweet coming out. Mike, I'm going to throw it to you first. 1, do you buy this? And 2, why the hell would the Bucs do this?
Who'd you say reported that?
Dan Sileo.
Ignore it. It's that simple. It's that simple. This guy is a joke, and he realizes that anything I say about the 49ers is going to blow up. It's going to get me clicks and interaction, and I'm just going to do it. I don't care if it's true. I don't care if it's close to being true. His sources are his toilet paper. You know how people read tea leaves, like they put them in the mugs. He wipes his ass and then takes a picture and says, "All right, this is what I'm getting from this one." And he's literally giving you shit. He's literally giving you shit. So I would not pay it. This trade makes no sense for anybody involved. I'm sorry. Like they have what's my guy's name over there? Who's his backup?
Kyle Trask.
Yeah.
Come on, man. And
I've heard the Bucs don't like Kyle Trask at all.
They don't have to like him. And if you know why they're saying that they don't like him? He's got that noodle arm. He doesn't throw the deep ball well, right?
I told y'all about that noodle last one.
All his balls have a lot of air under them. So you're going to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo? Come on. Let's connect the dots. Come on, man.
I know. I would completely dismiss it. The one thing that I will say is, and this is according to Grant Cohn, I haven't dove deep enough into the Cilio report to really listen to a show because I just find him grating and I have a hard time doing it. But Grant said that Dan Cilio said that this was coming from Don Yee. And the fact that he put Jimmy's agent on it, his agent's name as his source, is really weird. That's the only thing that gives me pause. Grant Cohn said that Dan Cilio named Don Yee as his source, that he heard Tampa Bay was in play from Don Yee.
How many people do you know?
If that's true, all I'm saying is if that's true, right, it could be some agent spin bullshit, right, to just drum up interest and use a stooge like Dan Cilio to do it. Okay. But at least that's one thing that makes me go, I'm 99.99999% sure that this is complete bullshit. But then there's 0.0001, maybe there's a kernel of truth, but I doubt it.
There's two things that come to mind when you say that. One, anyone with sources knows you don't name them or you lose them. That's right.
And that's why I say Cilio is probably Don Yee's stooge in all this.
Right. And that's the other
Don
thing.
Yee was go ahead. Yeah, you're cool to put that out.
The timing with this is interesting because this is coming off of less than 48 hours of the reports of arm fatigue. So you have to step back and look at what you're hearing about a certain team and why. Jimmy Garoppolo is reportedly less than 2 weeks away from being able to throw again, which means his value should be stepping up, right? How can the 49ers and his agent create value in him? Okay, so you're about to be healthy.
Oh, shit. Hold on, Mike. You got any tinfoil in your house? You about to put this conspiracy hat on?
Yeah, here we go.
No, I think I'm following you. So the 49ers kind of leaked the arm fatigue thing.
Boom.
Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo is going to stay in San Francisco. Oh, shit, we need a dude. Maybe we'll pony up a little more.
There you go. And now all of a sudden you need a team to do you a favor. Don Yee is the same agent for Tom Brady and Jimmy Garoppolo. Now do me a favor here. Hey, I need you guys to let me say that this team is interested in him. And all of a sudden you have a player who's healthy now and a team that has him, has a need for him. And then there is someone else on the market who is interested in him.
Yeah.
And now
the other interesting thing that Dan Cilio said was that Jimmy Garoppolo started throwing 2 weeks ago. And I haven't heard a dispute to that report yet. And as far as I knew, he hadn't been cleared yet.
I'm trying to figure out how to say this. I had heard a couple of weeks ago. No, it was more than that. It was a month and a half ago that Jimmy was way ahead of schedule and was supposed to start throwing at the end of June. I think I said that on your guys' show. I think I said that on this show, not on my show.
Here's the other thing, though, because he counteracted that with Jimmy's out there. He started throwing 2 weeks ago. He's throwing intermediate routes with trainers, but also he's going to miss the first 4 games of the season.
I got nothing for that. Again, this guy's an idiot, so I don't know.
So this is
this fucking
NFL.
Account.
Yeah, it's sourcing Dan Cilio, so that's the only reason why I brought it up. Otherwise, this account's full of shit. The Buccaneers apparently want to trade for 49ers Jimmy Garoppolo to be Tom Brady's backup and eventual successor, according to NFL insider Dan Cilio, who spoke directly to Garoppolo's agent. So,
yeah.
Again,
here's the other thing, too. By the way, Steve brings this up. This is a good point. They actually are friends. They go to the Kentucky Derby together every year. Now, they might not be friends after Edelman trashed him, but because I know Edelman's Brady's boy, too. So
why would Don
they hang out?
That's not fair. Edelman did not trash Jimmy. That's not fair. He didn't trash him.
That's
He
true.
read-
He didn't
read-
defend him being
He said,
trashed.
I would understand why he feels like that.
And he said,
But
and I
he
was upset too. Yes.
He did make reference to Jimmy making a business decision for himself.
Yeah.
He did.
And then he ended it with, hey, but he's the one that got the $30 million a year, and here I am. Like maybe he did the right thing. So like he cleaned it up. That's what I'm saying. It's like he didn't,
that to me speaks of like he said some shit, and then in the course of it, he was like, "Uh-oh, I better adjust course here because I'm going down a road I don't necessarily want to go down. Let me just turn the wheel a little bit to the right, get on the off ramp here, and fucking save my car from a horrendous accident."
So
That's what
to
that
answer Niner by nature, why would Don you tell Dan anything? These agents have an agenda as well. So it's not like he's trying to
all the
give
time.
Dan a story or a source or anything, but he's maybe trying to get his own shit done on the back end, and he's working through Dan Cilio.
And anybody who's an old school 49ers fan, we all remember Drew Rosenhaus sitting outside of Terrell Owens' fucking yard while he was doing sit-ups and shit and held an entire press conference while that dude was out there sweating. Agents will do whatever it takes to get their dude picked up. You know what I'm saying? And it works because at that point, I think that was the post Donovan McNabb fallout. And Drew Rosenhaus was trying to be like, T.O.'s ready. He's in shape, whatever. And then T.O. goes to Dallas and gets money. So it worked. I think these agents will do whatever it takes, to get their guys out there. And they're very strategic in the information that they let loose,
All right, so we're moving on. We got one last topic, and then we're going to play a game of yes or no. Hit like, hit subscribe if you guys haven't already. So a bunch of different websites ranked the NFL's rosters. Mike and I went over one on his show for PFF on his Patreon show, but we're going to cover the CBS Sports' rankings, which was very interesting. I'm pulling it up here. Let me change the screen so you guys can see it with me. So as you can see, they have the 49ers ranked 18. I'm going to read what they say about it, and then I'm going to throw it over to Matt to get his thoughts. What does Trey Lance have to offer? That's the big question, assuming Kyle Shanahan actually follows through with the plans to turn the quarterback keys over to his athletic but unpolished investment and part ways with the serviceable but creaky Jimmy Garoppolo. And what about Deebo Samuel, Shanahan's top weapon out wide and on the run? If he stays, the offense is still in decent shape, no matter who's throwing the ball. For the trench warriors, namely star left tackle Trent Williams and short area targets George Kittle, are still elite. The D has different pros and cons, with Nick Bosa and Fred Warner dominating the front seven, but the secondary once again looking to outside help ex-Chiefs corner Charvarius Ward for consistency. And as you can see,
whoever wrote this shit needs to work on their fucking grammar.
Yeah.
That last sentence is just gobbledygook. That doesn't even make any sense. The D has different pros and cons, with Nick Bosa and Fred Warner dominating in the front seven, but the secondary once again looking to outside help. The secondary once again looking to outside help. What? Editing, people, editing. Who wrote this? 18th? They brought up like the 6 recognizable dudes on the 49ers roster and like the team that went to the NFC champ. Oh, he sucks. Come on, dude.
Cody Benjamin. So
let's see who they put ahead of us. They put the Steelers roster ahead of the 49ers.
Oh, boy.
That's all you need to know about this trash.
Browns, Dolphins, Vikings, Raiders, Broncos, Ravens,
Broncos I can see.
Eagles, Packers, Cowboys,
Eagles.
Chiefs.
Are you kidding me with the Eagles?
Bengals, Buccaneers, Rams, Chargers, Bills.
Are you kidding me with the Eagles?
Yeah.
Matt's about to say everything I just said.
I'd take Jimmy Garoppolo over Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts sucks.
Thank you. Yes, I agree. 100%. So Mike and I discussed the different PFF rankings, which also had the Eagles above the 49ers. I don't care how good you think A.J. Brown is. He doesn't catapult the Eagles into top 10 rankings of the NFL. They got whooped by Tampa, absolutely whooped by Tampa last year. Not much has changed since then. I do not believe in Jalen Hurts as a quarterback. I think he throws a very ugly ball, and that's the reason why they were trying to move off of him to begin with this offseason and improve with Deshaun Watson under center. Putting Pittsburgh ahead of the 49ers is ridiculous to me. Mike, What are you thinking? 18th overall. And you heard the reasoning.
It gets worse and worse every time. It really does. Like every new ranking that comes out, the Niners drop a little more and more. The Eagles are consistently ahead of us, and the Bills are consistently number one. I mean, look, it comes down to people who don't follow the entire NFL trying to put together a ranking system, right? And if you like, this trio on your screen right now are clearly more passionate about the 49ers, and we know the depth here. We know the depth of the defensive line, and we have confidence in saying, hey, you can take any 6 of our defensive linemen and put them on any team in the NFL, and they'd be starters. We know that. But these people who write these articles don't know that. And so what was the rumor with the Eagles? Man, they got a good rotation of defensive linemen over there. It was so good that they didn't bring back Derek Barnett. He was their first-round pick. That's what they're remembering. They're remembering the headlines and saying the depth must be that good. But
This is that Colin Cowherd journalism, right? Is the bare minimum looking back with the rose-colored glasses. Oh, wait, what's the headline? Yeah. One they named 3 defensive players, right? Fred Warner, who's one of the best linebackers in the NFL, the big free agent signing that the 49ers had, Travarius Ward, and then Nick Bosa was the only defensive line. So Eric Armstead sucks. So we finally are going to see if everything went to plan, a healthy Javon Kinlaw, who's a run stuffer and just a big body on the inside. Drake Jackson's a 2nd-round pick. He's trash. Not to mention, we still have Ebukam. We still have, Mo Hurst. We still got, Jordan Willis. We still got this guy. We still got that guy. This thing runs 10, 11 deep to the point where you can't even dress all of your defensive linemen that would start on other NFL teams. You can't even dress the dudes.
I think
it's lazy.
I think what it comes down to is looking at the starting 22, right? And this is the only way I can justify the Niners not being a top 10 roster. Bear with me as I try to explain this, right? You have 5 starting offensive linemen. The Niners right now have questions at 4 of those spots.
Yep. And that's where I think it's true.
Right. Including the return of Mike McGlinchey. Then you have a new quarterback coming in because everyone knows you're trying to get rid of Jimmy. That's 5 starters on your offense so far. We're not even talking about the rookie running back that you just drafted. Debo, who says he wants out, right? So keep that in mind on the offensive side of the ball. Juice, great. Kittle, great. Elijah Mitchell, no one's going to question him and what he did, right? But keep that in the back of your mind. Flip it to the other side of the ball now, right? You just lost D Ford. We know D Ford has not been a contributor here for the last 3 seasons, but in their minds, D Ford is out now. You got your strong safety in Jaquiski Tart, who is on his way out right now. You got Jason Verrett, who cannot stay healthy, coming off of a season-ending injury, and you guys just drafted Travarius Ward, who was you just signed Travarius Ward, who was an undrafted free agent, right? These are the things that they're looking at. Your starters are supposed to be 2 undrafted free agents at the cornerback position. This is who you guys are telling us that is going to set your roster apart from other teams. They're looking at the negatives as opposed to the positives. You know what I'm saying? So now when you step back and you look at the 22, you're probably saying, yeah, the Niners have a solid 12 guys out of the 22. They're not looking at the depth. They're only looking at the starters and if we know anything about them without digging deep. And that's the only leeway that I can give these guys. I get it because I can't tell you that I have confidence in Aaron Banks. I have no idea who is it going to be Jake Brendel? You get what I'm saying?
And that I feel you on that. And that's why I would say that they're a borderline top 10 roster because of the unknown with Trey Lance, right? Which we think he's going to be good, but the bigger unknown is the offensive line. And if you can't keep Trey Lance upright, it doesn't matter how good or bad he's going to be. They're not going to go anywhere with a bad offensive line. And like I said last week, this is like a shotgun approach to building an offensive line. They're just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, right? And if you can't keep Trey Lance healthy, that's where like some of the but 18, like, come on, bro.
It's a bit disrespectful if I'm not lying. If I'm being honest,
it's a little bit of that classic East Coast bias is what it is.
It really is. And the PFF rankings as well, when Mike and I went over it, like I think we counted 10 out of the top 16 teams were AFC teams.
Yeah, I think it might have been 11. Yeah, it was a lot of AFC teams right there. Yeah.
So I really don't understand the reasoning behind it. Even if you feel that Trey Lance is equal to Jimmy Garoppolo, and I love the whole thing. If Deebo Samuel comes back, Deebo Samuel is playing for at the very least this year, and if very likely next year, due to a franchise thing at the very least. So that's not really an if. So I'm not quite sure if I understand the reasoning behind this, but I just had to get you guys' opinion because these lists have been coming out. And again, this is a team that was 10 minutes away from a Super Bowl appearance. They're second in 3 years or whatever the number was. And you're telling me they have the 18th best roster. They wouldn't make the playoffs if they go by this list. So I really don't understand it. It's a bunch of BS to me, if I'm being honest. You guys have any final thoughts before we go on to yes or no?
I like, you know what? I like it when the 49ers are underdogs.
Good point. They
I
do
like
better
it. So
that
let
way.
them sleep on us because we all know what happened when Adam Rank picked them to go 3-13. So bring it on. Let them doubt us. That's fine with me.
So save this article, screenshot it.
Can you pull up that article again and show me the top 10? Let's see if we can figure out the bias in this one.
Yes, sir.
Because when you went through and pulled up the other list that went on the show that we did, and they were all AFC teams, I'm like, oh wow, like you're on something. All right, here we go.
Okay.
AFC. All right.
Ravens. Wait. Go back up to Ravens. Ravens got a lot of problems.
They don't even have a wide receiver still, do they?
Right. They got rid of Marquise Brown. Their wide receivers are unproven, right? You still got to understand, like, Lamar still needs to grow and throw to people other than Mark Andrews, right? Like, there's a lot that they got to prove. So, I mean, dude, okay, but that's fine. They're a good roster. I'm not saying that they're bad.
No, but
Eagles,
they're not. Okay.
Fuck out of here with the Eagles.
How are you saying that Jalen Hurts has a high floor because of his running back like mobility? Get the hell out of here.
Well,
Yeah, but then at the same time they go, oh, but we don't know what we got in Trey Lance.
Right,
Exactly.
Right. The high floor for Jalen Hurts. Wow.
It's a joke. Packers at 8.
Packers, who's he going to throw to?
Exactly. Christian Watson. This is what we talked about on the last show. This is crazy.
That's it. He said Randall Cobb. Bro, Randall Cobb has been washed for like 5 years.
Randall Cobb has a retirement plan that he signed on twice already. Like this is nuts. This is absolutely insane.
Ravens number 1 running back right now is Mike Davis, says Steve.
Ooh.
7 Cowboys.
Get out of here.
All right. I will give this to the Cowboys and the Eagles. Their wide receiving corps is pretty tough.
They lost
Their
Cooper.
wide receivers are good. Yeah. But
Those
other
two
than
teams
Michael
are
Parsons, their defense sucks.
Yep. 6 Chiefs.
Chiefs are going to be good. They're fine.
I think that Scantling signing is going to be super underrated. You give Mahomes a guy
And Schuster.
6'4" and can run a 4.5. That's going to be dangerous for Patrick Mahomes, man.
And Juju.
So you got Juju, you got Marcus Valdez-Scantling, and they say there's no replacing Tyreek Hill, but Mecole Hardman is like not terrible, and he's
no, he's good. He's not terrible. He's a good.
That's
player.
what I'm saying. Like that offense is going to be fine.
Yep. 5 Bengals.
They did a good job. They did a good job bolstering their offensive line. I don't have any problem with that one.
That was one of the most impressive off seasons I think I've seen in a while.
Yeah, they did a great job.
Coming off
they
of the
saw
Super
what
Bowl.
happened in the Super Bowl, and they were like, "All right, let's go out and fix this problem."
That's if it works. Now, here's what I will tell you about this team. What I've liked about what they did. They did it backwards. Everyone else builds the trenches first, and then they go ahead and get this.
They built outside in.
Yeah, these guys did it the exact opposite. They did running back, wide receivers, and then all right, we'll fix the line afterwards. Like they did everything except the line, and man, do they go hard at it. So kudos to them, man. I don't know. I like bad teams becoming good, man. I really do.
Yep.
Lake City Fresh says Chief got Sky Moore as well.
Oh yeah, that's a good thing too.
That's right.
So 4 Buccaneers.
No problem there. I mean, Brady has, Godwin's coming back. Mike Evans is there. They lost Gronk, but Gronk wasn't Gronk anymore, so that's fine.
Right.
3 Rams.
They won the Super Bowl. You got to give them their flowers.
2 Chargers.
Chargers have a legit roster. They just need to stay healthy. If
and
they
one Bills.
if Derwin James and Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa stay healthy, that defense is going to be nasty.
Yep.
Oh,
It's
and they
a
signed
lot of
Jason
ifs.
Jackson
Wait,
with
wait,
Asante
wait,
Samuel
wait,
Jr.
wait,
That's a
wait.
nasty defense, bro.
Do they have the highest paid linebacker in the NFL? Or is it the which team? It's an
The
AFC
Colts.
team. It's the Colts.
The
That's right.
Titans.
Darius Leonard.
With the Colts. With the Colts.
I thought it was the Titans.
Who?
They signed one. I forget his name. That's how good he is.
Oh.
AJ
But-
something. No, not AJ Brown.
Don't the Bills have a good linebacker also? Scroll down. Let me see what it says in the big scroll.
Tremaine Edmonds?
Was it Harold Landry?
They just signed him though, right?
I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know. That's they're
right.
getting a lot of love for number
Darius
one.
Leonard, probably the guy I'm thinking of. That's fine.
They're getting a lot of
I'm
love at
remembering.
number one, and they're like the unanimous number one too. I
Mhm.
think that's bothering me. I'm not going to lie to you. I think that them being unanimously number one is really, really bothering me.
It just means they'll flame out in the divisional round, but like on paper, their team is great.
So 1, 2, 3,
There's 3,
4,
4. It's pretty even, bro. 5.
5. Okay. So
I can't find a bias here. All right, wait. Go back down.
No. Wait.
Hold
Go
on.
back. Hold
Found the
on.
bias. Go ahead. Lamar Jackson. No, keep going down. Go back to number
No.
one.
Wait.
Lamar
I'll
Jackson.
go down and then I'll go back up.
No, because this is Hurts. But then you got Aaron Rodgers. You got Dak Prescott. Patrick Mahomes. I was going to say this is a quarterback list. Joe Burrow. Tom Brady. Nah, I can't say.
There's an East Coast bias. There's only 2 West Coast teams in there. Everyone else is on the East Coast or in the Midwest.
Okay,
what
so
it
not
is?
necessarily NFC,
Okay.
AFC
East Coast.
geographical.
This is,
Is
and
it East Coast-
one of
East
you
Coast
guys
team?
said it. One of you guys said East Coast bias
Yeah.
before it even started.
I did.
Yeah.
That's a huge sports bias. East Coast bias.
Go to the next 5. Let's see how many more East Coast there.
1, 2, 3, 4.
4.
So 4.
Yeah.
What was it?
4 out of
9
5.
out of 15?
No, West Coast only makes up 3 out of 15.
Right.
Everyone else is Midwest or over.
That's tough. Good catch. Good catch right there, Matt. Good
Yeah.
catch, man. Wow.
All right, guys.
It's terrible. Like, how can
Yeah.
you like not hide your bias better than that? Like, everyone has a bias, right? Everyone has favoritism and shit like that. Like, but when I talk about the 49ers, I can tell you, hey, this is me being a homer, da-da-da-da-da. But from the outside looking in, I can understand how you think, da-da-da-da-da. Like, it's
Right.
like you have to. I'm gonna shut up. You know what? Can we make a list? Can we do one of these lists?
Yeah,
Can
let's do a list.
You guys still
Let's
have
do
like a
list for the next
website? We
show.
don't have.
Let's each do
Yeah.
a list for the next show.
We don't have a website anymore. Do you guys have a website?
We do.
Still?
Yeah.
Okay, so can I issue a call to action here? So by the end of next week, we all come up with our own list of 32 team roster rankings, and then we take the average of the 3 of us and make that the official article and
Yeah.
put them in their respective places.
Let's
And
do
we'll
it.
go over, and that'll be our next show. We'll each go over our list.
Boom. There you
There
go.
you go.
Let's
I
do
like
it.
That's content, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's do it. Because this is pissing. Are we going to write with bias or no? I don't.
I mean,
don't tell
we
me.
just, I think with the 3 of us, we can kind of.
You're going to
I'm gonna be
49ershive.com. I think
objective.
you know.
I'm gonna be as objective as possible. That's just how I roll. But
All right, I'm with it. Look at that. I just became a writer for 49ers Hive.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Brandon,
Let's go.
I'm not sure if you're talking about our site or what, but
He's probably talking about ours. No, our website's been down for a year and a half now.
all right. We're gonna bring you yes or no. We have not played this game in a while, and I agree with Robert. Why so few likes? This is quality content. Thank you, Robert.
appreciate
hit
you,
like,
Robert.
hit subscribe.
Does that
All right.
show up? Can you guys
Perfect.
see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, I'm ready then.
Melissa, we haven't discussed when we're having fans on, but definitely within the next couple of shows, we'll arrange something. We'll have some fans on and get your guys' opinions.
think-
That's always
yeah.
so fun.
I
It didn't work the other day. Get the hell out of here. We're talking about days old. All right.
Mike's going with the digital version. I'm gonna go analog. I'm gonna do thumbs up or thumbs down because that's all I got
Okay.
right now.
I don't have any paper or anything with me, but I'm
So
ready.
you guys comment your answers in the chat. I'm thrilled to know your answers. I have 3 of my own that I made graphics for. If you guys have any, please feel free to throw them out there. We're going to start with the first one. I'm going to play the video right now. All right. So we're all in agreement.
Yeah.
For those listening, it was there's currently reason to be concerned about Trey Lance. And we all said no.
Yeah. And I think concern is just too strong a word. There's questions. There's going to be, what can Trey Lance do? How good is he going to be? Can he lead this team? Is he going to be better than Jimmy Garoppolo? But concern, that's some glass half empty type of shit. And I'm just not about it, man. Like, I'm pulling for the kid, and I think that he has the natural talent, and he's shown that he has work ethic, and he seems to be a dude that wants to lead people. So concern, no, but you definitely have questions because he's still a relative unknown.
Perfectly said. I think if anything, there's more reason to be optimistic and excited than there is to be concerned and afraid. Mike, anything to add before we move on? You agree? In agreement?
No. Listen. We can all be who we think we are, but the truth of the matter is I think all of us trust Kyle Shanahan and the staff more than we trust ourselves. They are closer to the situation, and the fact, not the opinion, the fact that they are trying to move Jimmy tells us all we need to know. I have no reason to worry about Lance right now.
All right. I love it. All right. Next one. Okay, so for those listening, Jimmy Garoppolo will start more than 9 games this year on any team. Matt said no. Mike,
wait. Are we saying like there's an
team
opportunity for him to start more than 9 games?
Like if we're in February of next year and we look back, we say Jimmy Garoppolo started 9 or more games this year. Matter of fact.
Fuck, can I do this?
He's going to start more than 9 games this year. He's gonna. I'll go first.
I'm gonna say no because he has to go to a situation and there's like 2 right now. It's Cleveland and it's Seattle, and then 2, his ass got to stay healthy. And we all know how Jimmy Garoppolo does in even numbered years. It's not looking good for him, dog.
The only way Jimmy Garoppolo does not start 9 or more games this year is if the 49ers keep him. Jimmy Garoppolo, if he's not on this roster, will get signed by somebody who needs his services. And he will start for better or worse because he's going to come with a new.
He's going to stub his pinky toe in the 3rd week of preseason and be out for the next 3 years. That's what's going to happen.
That's Carson Wentz.
I think he does play. And then, look, Robert, I'm not saying 9 in a row. In total, when we're looking back on this season, maybe he started weeks 1 through 3, weeks 7 through 10, whatever the hell you want to break it up. I agree with Mike. I think he either gets traded or cut, and wherever it does sign him, maybe they don't start him right away. But I think whatever situation he's going to go to will likely turn to him because it probably won't be a great situation. And they'll probably say, hey, this guy's proven he can win. Let's see if he has some of that magic still left in him.
By the way, I just want to say that's how I know Zach is a gambler at heart because that would be a pretty good prop bet for Vegas.
9 starts?
9 starts. It's a little over half the season.
Yep.
And Vegas loves to hedge to one side or another.
He would probably have to throw a half in there, though.
They definitely throw in a half so you don't get a push. But
yeah, exactly. Yep.
It'd probably be like 8.5 would be the line.
I was just gonna say, do you think it would be 8.5 or 9.5? But all right,
probably 8.5.
Yep.
I like
Romelia Sports Report says must-see TV is Jimmy with the Seahawks in Seattle versus the 49ers in Trey.
I would love to see that. Listen, he's saying that. Oh, this isn't my show, but
feel free, please.
RG3 came out and said Kyle Shanahan is too controlling over his quarterbacks. And this has been a conspiracy theory of mine since Jimmy went to the podium and they said, hey, how come you don't throw outside the numbers more, downfield more? He says, hey, I just make the throws that are called in the huddle. And I said, I can't wait to see Jimmy somewhere else because he called out Kyle Shanahan on that. He said, hey, I don't do it because they don't let me do it. Right? And then RG3's example, I don't know if you guys heard the lock.
Oh, is that the one where RG3 said like I ran for like a 76-yard touchdown and Kyle was pissed at me because I didn't hit the throw?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Like Kyle is very, very controlling. We've heard this from
There's something
all
to
the
that.
quarterbacks on this roster. Yeah.
There's
And
something
so-
to that, and I think that that's maybe Jimmy's playing a little puckered up. That's true, and maybe that's part of the reason why you moved to Trey Lance. Maybe Trey Lance has a personality where he can take that type of thing, and it's just like, all right, whatever.
And I really, really want him to move on, and just so I can see what we could do on another team.
Yeah. So the quote here is, this is a growth moment for him. Griffin said of Shanahan on 49ers Talk. He realizes, yes, I am. Let's call it what it is. He's a control freak. He wants to control everything. He wants to control every aspect of the offense. And maybe he's understanding that sometimes you just need the guy that can just make a play for you. And it goes on to say more, but that's the gist.
By the way, we know this is true, right?
Yeah.
What's that famous video clip of Kyle Shanahan where the head coach of the Cleveland Browns goes, let's
run the ball. Yeah.
And Kyle goes, and then he goes, okay, what do you want to do? Because that dude knew right off the bat. And I think Kyle is a control freak. For
there's
sure.
another video clip that came out and during our Super Bowl run year where he says, look, I'm going to call this play and 85 is going to get held. I'm not telling you to throw a flag, but watch this shit. And as soon as he calls hike, he gets held. They throw the flag. Like Kyle controls every aspect, his players and the reactions of the opposing players. So
yeah,
I think that do you guys think he's going to be that tight with Lance, or is he going to give Lance a little bit more flexibility? Sorry, I know we're doing yes or no. Sorry,
maybe progressively.
I think yes, or I'm sorry. I think no. I think he's going to loosen up because I think he saw what it did to Jimmy Garoppolo, and I don't think he wants to do that to Lance. And I think that Lance has more physical gifts. I think Kyle understands at a certain point. I really do think the turning point, and I talked about this before, was in 2020 where Josh Allen just like ripped a team a new asshole.
Mm-hmm.
And that really showed him something. And I think that that's what kind of set them on this path to, dang, dude, it's not my dad's NFL anymore, right? It's why, I mean, just look at what he's doing. If you have a question about what he's going to do with Trey Lance, the fact that they drafted Danny Gray and signed Ray McLeod, and now you're getting backs that work better in an RPO system than they do in what Kyle normally likes to run. That tells you all you need to know about what he's planning for Trey Lance. And it looks like that he's going to open up the offense and get outside the numbers and do different things because he knows that this is NFL in 2022. And the best quarterbacks are the ones that can get all over the field. So,
All right. Last one I have. If you guys have any, please feel free to throw them in after this. The last one. Wow. Okay. So for those listening, Jimmy Ward is a top 3 safety in the NFL. I said yes. Matt and Mike both said no. Mike, you first. Why not?
Because you didn't say strong safety. That's my only little caveat. If you specified, I'm sorry, you didn't say free safety because I have to include strong safeties.
So, okay, my bad. I could only fit so many words in there.
Oh, okay.
What if we free safety?
Yes, I will definitely give them top 3.
Do you change your answer? Nope. Why not?
I just think that there's too many guys. Jimmy Ward is great at what he does, but like he got those 2 interceptions in a game and that brought his career total to like 3. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't play the ball. You got people like Keith Byard, who I think had like 10 interceptions in a season at safety. Yeah. You got people like Marcus Williams, who's really good. You got Jesse Bates, who just signed for big money. You got Justin Simmons is good. Minka Fitzpatrick. These are all free safeties that I think are better than Jimmy Ward. Now, that's not to say that Jimmy Ward is trash because I think Jimmy Ward is excellent. I just think that there's a lot of good free safeties in the NFL. And because it's not a super high valued position, a lot of the talent at that position goes overlooked. And it's a little too easy for us as 49er fans to be like, Jimmy Ward is fucking great, right? But we're not really paying attention to a ton of other safeties in the league. And so when you take that into account, you know, I think that he's like top 6 or 7 free safety in the league for sure. Like he's like definitely there, but I just think there's the guys that are younger that are better ball hawks. And when you're talking about free safeties, it's not like you need a strong safety, you want a guy that, yeah, he can do some coverage shit, but like you want him to get down and thump in the box too, right? Like your free safety is your center fielder. You need that guy to be a ball hawk. And I just don't think that Jimmy Ward is quite the ball hawk that he should be, or that you want out of a free safety who's roaming the middle of the field.
Yeah. I got Kevin Byard and Justin Simmons as the only free safeties I take over Jimmy Ward right now. God, we talked about Garoppolo so much tonight. It just came out. But those are the only two guys, and that's
no Minkah Fitzpatrick?
No. No, I would. And listen, Minkah's from Jersey. You guys know my Jersey bias. It seeps out of my pores, right? But I wouldn't take I don't get confused by the turnovers. That's not what sways me. I've seen Minkah.
Jesse Bates is nice too, though, bro.
No, he is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not but Jimmy's a better tackler than everybody on any list of safeties. Jimmy Ward is a really, really good tackler. He's a sure tackler, and that has a higher value to me other than PBUs. And Jimmy breaks up I would say he's the third best at breaking up passes. If the ball's in the air and he gets there at the point of attack, you're not catching that ball. So you combine that with tackling and not letting the runner get by him, the receiver, whoever it is, get by him. I have him up there.
What about Derwin James?
Derwin James moves around a little bit, but I'm not taking him over.
I'll give Jimmy Ward this. If I had a safety that I wanted to feel comfortable playing in the slot, I would take Jimmy Ward over everybody else.
Yes, sir.
He's extremely good at that.
He was converted from corner, but I feel comfortable with him in the slot. There's not a lot of other guys I could say that about.
I think Matt said it. For what the 49ers are asking of him, I don't know of too many other guys that can do it as good as he does it. And I mean, clearly it shows for how long he's been here. So I think maybe just situationally, yes. But if we're looking at as a whole, I agree with you guys. Maybe not necessarily then.
Cesario, I respect you and stuff, but I don't think Quandre Diggs is better than
not at all
Jimmy Ward.
Not at all. It's a name thing. It's the Diggs name, and I don't like that at all.
Lake City Fresh says, y'all tripping. Jimmy is top 3. It's not based off turnovers, fellas. The guy can play anywhere on the field. And
I'm gonna leave room for debate. It's me tripping because, like, I mean, I guess Mike, not like, I don't know. Overall safeties, he's not top 3. Free safety, I know you guys change your answer to yes. I still think that he's just outside. I would say like top 5 to 7, but you can't go wrong if you think he's top 3. That's not a hill I'm willing to die on.
It reminds me of when we tried to rank, and maybe it was just me and Mike, tried to rank Deebo Samuel as a top wide receiver. You really don't know how many good elite receivers there are.
Yeah, dude, Deebo Samuel's like
15,
20.
Yeah,
there's like a lot of good dudes over there.
That's really good because we felt
somebody, I can't remember. Oh, I know who it was. I don't want to name his name, but he said that Deebo Samuel was better than Devontae Adams. And I was like, you gotta lay off the Buddha, bro. Like,
I told Mike he was a top 3 receiver, and Mike was like, name the top 10. And I was like, oh shit, there's no way he's even a top 10.
When you start running down the names, it's like, oh my God, like, you know what? I'm tripping. Like all right, that was cool.
So do you guys have any?
Yes or no's?
Yes, you don't have to. I'm just throwing it out there before we wrap up.
I have one ready.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead.
Will Nick Bosa have a better career than his older brother, Joey Bosa?
3, 2, 1. We're all in agreement for once.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
I think so. Joey is slightly taller, but he's also thinner. I think that Nick Bosa is lower center of gravity, and I think that he has better technique. So, and that with, I mean, both those boys work really hard, but I just think that Nick Bosa is he's built like a brick shit house, dude. Like he's one of those physical specimens that you look at like a Myles Garrett and you're just like, dude, that dude's like, he's different, right? Like you see TJ Watt, and TJ Watt, he's in good shape. You see Joey Bosa's in good shape. But then like you look at like Myles Garrett, I still remember, I think it was the 2019 draft in Nashville when he walked out in that suit and those seams were crying, dude. His arms were so big. I was like, he's gonna get back to the hotel with a call from the league going like, "Hey, we got a guy outside your hotel right now. You need a drug test."
Right.
Like that's how big he was. And Nick Bosa came into OTAs and was like, "Yeah, I think I'm in better shape than I was last year." And I was like, "Dude, really? Like,
Yeah.
how you do that?" He's just one of those super freaks, right? It's just there are those once in a generation type players, those once in a generation type freak athletes, and I think he's one of those. I remember when people said Aiden Hutchins said, "Oh, he's a better athlete than Nick Bosa." I was like, "Get out of here!"
I can't wait for the season just for that. That's one of the reasons I want.
Even
it sucks.
Like Chase Young too, and I'm like, dude, Chase Young is really good. He's really athletic, but he does not mix the athleticism and the technique.
That
Nick Bosa does.
Exactly.
I would argue Nick Bosa's already had a better career than Joey Bosa.
That's a little wild.
Take the injury out, maybe.
That's still a little wild.
Minus the injury, I think Nick Bosa's averaging like 17 sacks a season or something like that, right? And his 2 healthy seasons, right? What he had 9. Did he get to? Oh wait, I might be thinking about Alden Smith. Who had 19 and a half? Was that Alden Smith or was that?
It was
Nick
Alden, yeah.
So Nick had 15 and a half and what? 16 and a half then? And
he only had 8 his rookie season.
That's it?
I thought he had more than that.
I know he had a crazy. He's really, really good against the run. He had an insane number of pressures, and then his sacks didn't quite hit in year 1. And then
Joey Bosa has been in the league since 2016.
So that's 5 years.
And he's been injured for parts of 2 seasons other than his rookie season, and he has 58 career sacks in 6 seasons. That's a lot. Joey's had a really good career.
It's almost 10 a year. And he's been injured. If he wasn't injured, he'd
be at like 65 or 70 sacks.
9.5.
There you go. 9.5. And then he had what was it? 17 last year?
Right.
17.5.
Yeah.
All right. I have one more if you guys
please do.
Want to do one more. What's the matter? Oh, I thought you were saying something to me. The 49ers will make it to at least the divisional round and the playoffs this season.
3, 2, 1.
Come on,
I caved.
Padres.
I want to say yes.
You guys got it.
I think so. I think they'll be a wild card team, and they'll catch a vulnerable team like the Cowboys and smoke the Cowboys again.
I mean, there'll be a team just like they were this past year. They got hot at the right moment. Nobody wanted to see them, and they were super close to getting to a Super Bowl. I think by the end of the year, Trey is going to be a noticeable improvement over Jimmy Garoppolo, so I can't see how they won't get there.
Can I ask how you guys interpreted my question? I said at least a divisional round. So did you guys have them advancing, or that divisional round?
I think the divisional round is where they're kind of capped. Okay, I think that they're a wild card team that will win their wild card game and then run into because it's a lot for Trey Lance's first playoff run to ask him to make a Super Bowl. That's not, and we saw it, right? We saw it with Lamar. We saw it with Patrick Mahomes. We saw it with Josh Allen. These young guys, they do great in the regular season, right? And outside of Burrow, whose first playoff took them to the Super Bowl, you don't see a lot of these young guys getting to the Super Bowl in their first season as a starter, like their first playoff as a starter. You just don't see that very much. So I think it's a lot to ask, but I think divisional is doable. I think wild card is within the cards. I think the Rams are really good, and it's going to be a fight for the division. But yeah.
Why not?
Oh yeah, I don't think Elijah Mitchell's going to lead the team.
Okay. This is for Elijah Mitchell?
Yeah, that's what I had. I was going with Elijah Mitchell.
I could see it.
What was Melissa's question?
Will George Kittle score a touchdown on National Tight End Day?
He's never done it, just so you guys know.
He's never done it. I'll say 3, 2, 1. Yes.
I think he will. I think he'll make it a point.
He's due.
Yeah.
Mike's going to be like, hell no.
No, I was trying to
get it. Yes, okay.
I was trying to get it to do it.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go.
All right. I think so. Mike J says, why not, bro? Can't Trey do the Jimmy give me to get to this team to the playoffs?
I do think we get to the playoffs. I do think we advance past the wild card round. The divisional round, I'm not quite sure. I don't know if the Niners are an NFC championship team this year. That's where I paused. And that doesn't mean we didn't have a successful season. That is a phenomenal
That's a good season.
first season start for a quarterback. To me, that tells me we're winning a chip in the next 3 years. Like that's what that would tell me. But I know and I understand how people could be upset. Oh, well, if Jimmy made the playoffs, we got at least to the NFC championship. You're gonna hear it. You're gonna hear it, but I don't care. I don't care. Yeah. I want the guy for the long haul. You know what I'm saying? So
All right. I got one yes or no.
Let's do it.
Okay. My yes or no. Deebo Samuel comes into training camp out of shape.
3, 2, 1. All he would have to do is show up as he is right now.
Right.
We're terrible.
Which is a problem. Which is a problem. And it's why you got to give pause. This is why I said, man, you've got to be really careful about what you're willing to commit to Deebo Samuel, because he has an injury history. He has off-season weight problems. And when you combine the two, because if he comes in out of shape and then second week of training camp, it's like, oh, Deebo ain't practicing because he pulled a hamstring. Because we've seen that story before, right? Now what do we get out of Deebo Samuel? So then with that, here, I'll give you one last. I mean, you guys can answer too, but I have one last yes or no after you guys respond. So Zach White, what are you worried about with Deebo Samuel coming in out of shape?
I mean, I think you touched on it right there. He gets injured. He pulls something. I don't know. Maybe too much is forced on other receivers like Brandon Ayuk. It kind of would impact the whole offense.
I'm not sure how much Deebo injury would impact the offense this year. For the first time in my fandom with Shanahan in particular, I think we're built to overcome a little bit of loss at the wide receiver position. I don't think this is like Mohamed Sanu would not make this year's roster, and he did last year. And I said it from the beginning. If Mohamed Sanu makes this roster, we're in trouble at the wide receiver position. He has no business making the 53-man roster. That was honestly how I felt. That's before we added guys like Ray McLeod and Danny Gray. So I think that there's a different dynamic here. And again, Deebo makes this 49ers team a better team. And as far as a 1-2 punch, we're looking at Ayuk on potential and what Deebo has done. I do think that is a top 3 duo, not trio, but duo at the wide receiver position. Deebo in the short to intermediate is going to be a killer, and Ayuk in intermediate to long or deep is going to be killer. I like our 1-2 punch here. And now we got a quarterback that can deliver. But if we lose Deebo, what happens is you lose a guy's having Deebo was the best check down in the NFL. You're not going to a running back, you're not going to a tight end. You're going to someone with more speed than both of those, who is going to be close to the line of scrimmage. That is going to be your your quarterback's best friend. And so losing Deebo would take that away. Now you're going to have to rely on guys like Kyle Juszczyk or George Kittle, or I would much rather have Deebo as one of those guys that we can depend on in a 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. Give me Deebo over George Kittle. Give me Deebo over Kyle Juszczyk in those situations. I would much rather have that. And he's more likely to break a tackle. George Kittle's more likely to carry somebody, but Deebo's more likely to break a tackle than any of those guys that I named. So I definitely have a big value on him.
Did you say you had one more, Matt, or was that it?
Yeah. Yes or no? Deebo Samuel leads the 49ers in receiving yards.
3, 2, 1. We're on agreement yet again. Yep. No.
Brandon Ayuk. That's where I'm going with this.
They're already developing chemistry, and Deebo missed out on it due to being petty. I mean, I don't know. What reason do you have to not work out with your new quarterback just because you want a contract extension or a trade? At the very least, you could still work out. Yeah, you could still practice.
Absolutely.
But he doesn't like being California.
He was like, oh, he can come down here and train with me in Florida. And then it was like, Oh no, but actually, just kidding. I'm gonna be in LA.
Yeah.
but
But
still
not with him.
Yeah.
I'll go to Cali, but not with him. Yeah. You guys are going to turn to a Debo hater.
Cesario says people forget Debo was outpacing Cooper Kupp in the first quarter of the season before we turned him into a running back. I went over his stats. A lot of his yards came from like 3 games, to be completely fair. There was that Detroit game where he had like 183 receiver, something crazy like that, because he had that long catch and run.
Mm-hmm.
The Chicago game, he had that 90-yard catch and run. There were a couple of games where he really was able to stack up those yards early on. Maybe it looked a little inflated than it actually was. He wasn't catching, a bunch of yards or a bunch of passes for 50, 60 yards each game. It was like 1 long catch and run, 2 long catches and runs, if you know what I mean. So to be fair,
when it
that's
bears
all I'm saying
out,
there.
when you look at like the top receiving yards leaders and stuff, Deebo Samuel has like significantly lower number of catches than the rest of those dudes. So he was getting a lot of long touchdowns. Not like Cooper Kupp, who led the league in receiving yards, but also led the league in receptions as well.
Right.
Like Cooper Kupp caught like 120 passes. Like that's a shit
and touchdowns,
ton,
right?
And he was triple crown.
Yeah.
He did all 3.
Lake City Fresh is, we're okay, guys. I follow Debo's workout page. He cut that weight already. We're good.
I believe him. I actually believe him. All right, I have one more yes or no for you guys.
Oh no, Croc shit on him today.
What did he say?
Croc said he saw somebody working out and he saw in the background. He's like, I thought that was somebody's uncle. And I looked closer. He's like, oh, that's Debo.
Yeah.
He said that shit.
You're right. I did hear
He
that.
said that shit today.
Tell me you guys saw Croc smack his mic trying to kill that fly.
Kill the fly? Yeah, I saw that.
I don't watch it. I just listen to the video.
He posted it on Twitter. It was hilarious. I'll pull it up while you're asking a question.
And then he just went back to his point, like the previous 6
didn't even acknowledge it.
He could cuss the mic and
Here,
just kept it rolling.
you know what? I'm gonna play it real quick. I pulled it up.
Right.
This shit is so funny.
He did it with a fly swatter.
Oh wait, hold on. Here we go.
To consistently win.
He's using a fly swatter.
To consistently win.
You see his eyes get big? Wait, rewind it. Look at his eyes get big. Like, oh, he.
Positions to consistently win.
He looks so angry.
They're going to put him in those spots to consistently win. Positions to consistently win.
Why does he come back so mad? He's so angry when he returns. Holy shit. That is great. Oh, I wish I saw that.
And then he just keeps talking.
Oh man. Oh man. That is awesome.
That shit was great. I think that's gonna do it. Yeah, fellas.
I think Mike had one more.
No, this will be it really quick. Are the Rams the best team in the NFC West? Oh, I'm sorry. Do they finish with the best record in the NFC West this season? You ready? 3, 2, 1.
Yep. I think so.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I defending Super Bowl champs, they were able to again get a player where you're just like, how the hell did they get this fool? It's just, I don't know. It's crazy, man. So I think this is like one of the last years of their window, but I think that they still finish probably like a game up. It's going to be a tight run, but
right.
I can see the 49ers at like 10-7 and the Rams at like 11-6.
Right. Yep.
Arizona's going to be their 8-9 or 9-8 disaster. The Seahawks are like a 3-win team. If you need a preview to my worst rosters in the NFL, Seattle's 32. I'll tell you that right now. They're the worst team in the league.
I love it. It.
Bro, they're going to run out. They're having a quarterback battle that Geno Smith is winning in 2022. They're the worst team in the league.
That's one position, though. All right. Never mind. This is going to be a fun extra. I'm going to be working on this all week long. I cannot wait to bring it to you guys. This is going to be.
By the way, that might change when I actually dive into the rosters.
Yes.
But just off the top of my head, I'll tell you they're a bottom 5. Guaranteed they're a bottom 5.
That feels about right. I think I see like 20.
The people want to see it. The people want to see it. So I'm gonna play it one more time.
Positions to consistently win.
He's like a fucking cat. Wait, one more time. Let it go.
Just let it
Can
loop. Just let it
Can you
loop,
make
bro.
that full screen? What happened to never mind.
Yeah, I can.
They're gonna put him in those spots to consistently win. Positions to consistently win.
It's like a fucking cartoon. I've never had a fly swatter actually make
They're
that
gonna
noise.
put him in those spots to consistently
He
win.
went cross-eyed looking
To
at the
consistently
microphone. Look.
win.
Can I record this? Oh, I'm sending this to him. Oh, holy shit. This is great. Please record.
They're gonna put him
Oh.
in those spots to consistently win. Positions
Record.
to consistently win.
I'm fucking dying.
Oh my god.
They're gonna put him in those spots
Look
to
at-
consistently
Hey,
win.
look at his ass come back on with that knowing smirk too. He's like, I know I just did some shit. We're just gonna let it rock.
He's hoping more people are listening than watching.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Oh,
Oh my god.
Lake City Fresh. We know who doesn't have arm fatigue.
Oh man.
All right. With that said, we're gonna wrap things up, and we gotta shout out.
Hey Zach, if you were
Yes.
gonna mail me a letter, how'd you do it?
I would do it with a gold stamp, which is what Matt calls our Acre Gold sponsor. You can now buy gold for as little as $50 a month. You no longer have to fork out hundreds of dollars. Click the link in the description. Thank you to Acre Gold. Start buying gold for as low as $50. Like I said, once you reach the market price of 2.5 grams, Acre Gold will send you discreetly a gold bar, which Matt calls a stamp because it's rather small. It's 2.5 grams, but the dollar's going down like crazy. You know, it isn't gold. So click the link in the
Yeah.
description. Start buying gold. Get your money's worth. Start investing
Hey,
today.
Zach,
Think of it as a long-term investment.
You know, if I had some Acre Gold and I was thirsty for an adult libation, what could I get with that?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. You could get some 81 by Terrell Owens. 81vino.com. Enter code Hive. You'll save 10% on your entire purchase. You also get free shipping on 2 or more bottles. Go support Terrell Owens as he ventures into the wine business. Fantastic stuff. Shout out to 81vino. 81vino.com. Code Hive.
Hey, and last shout out. They're not a sponsor, and I know Mike has had his druthers with them in the past, but Manscaped, if you're listening, I'm the missing link between man and ape, and I'll take some free shit. So you can send it my way.
Manscaped is great. Their products work extremely well, guys. I'm telling you.
By the
No
time they
promo.
see this, it'll be like the lawnmower 13.5. So we'll be all right.
To be fair, I reached out to them and they basically told me to fuck off so they
All
can eat
right.
shit. They can eat shit, okay? I'm kidding, Manscaped. I'll take the bag. I'll sell out. I don't care. You want to send me a lawnmower 3.0?
Let's do it.
All right. Thank you, everybody. This was a hell of a show. Very long. We appreciate everybody for staying with us. Hit like, hit subscribe. Mike, thank you for joining us. I'm sure the faithful already subscribed to you. Let the fans know where to find you if you could speak.
Guys, just follow me at my Twitter handle there. It's right there. And I'll lead you guys everywhere else. Mike Andrews 83, please. All right. Y'all be safe.
All right, Matt, take us out.
Great show as always, guys. This was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to next week when we're gonna break down our top 32 NFL rosters, our list. Manscaped ain't gonna be on it. Fuck you guys, apparently, but still send us free stuff. But we love having you here, Mike. Thank you as always for showing up. It's always a good time. We went almost 2 hours, ladies and gentlemen. Let the good times roll. This is the end of the slow season. We're going to start picking up training camp at the end of the month. Love it. Football's back, baby. Hit like, hit subscribe, all that stuff. So thank you as always for joining us. And until next time, go Niners.